Good morning. We will start this meeting today with a moment of silence in memory of James C. Dotson, Randall Scott Bowling. Herbie.
Okay. James E. Dotson, Randall Dotson, caretaker at the Hatfield McCoy Park. He had worked 2 years with the county, hired on April the 4th, 2015. He passed away on December the 9th, 2017. I'll ask Hillman if he would talk a little bit about it.
Thank you, Herbie. You know, Buddy Dotson was a special person to about everybody that knew him or asked him to do anything for him. And Buddy was a caretaker over the Hatfield McCoy Park for several years. And he would go over and pick up the garbage after people left having their parties, and he would look after it and caretaker for that park for a long time. He kept the grass mowed and manicured, and anything that went wrong, he'd call Paul, and Paul would go over and take care of whatever he needed. But the people will really miss Buddy, especially the people that he cared so much about. He was a person that if you had a problem, Buddy would try to resolve it. And he came to the court meetings and sat back in the back for many years. And I just think it would be appropriate if the court could find and deem necessary to put a little plaque over there in that park with his name on it and the years of service that he had with the park. I know Chick lost a caretaker a few years ago, and I believe they were able to do something up there at his park with the guy's name on it. But Buddy will be sadly missed by a lot of people, and we just pray for his family and hope that they can continue on and following his footsteps. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Randall Scott Bowling. He worked in solid waste in Area 3, packer driver to road lot number 1 driver. He has worked 6 years, or did work 6 years with the county. Hired on May 18th, 2011. Thank you. And he passed away on December 13th, 2017. He was 44 years of age, and he lived at Caney Creek, and he was the a son of Randall G. Squirrely Bowling, who I know well. And he was a good worker, and he'll be sadly missed. Judge?
All right, thank you. Hillman, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Let's bow our heads, please. Our most gracious and heavenly Father, we just come to you today with broken and humble hearts, asking that you be with us and be with our families and our people that does the daily duties of the county. We pray that you'll be with them and look over them and their families. And Father, we just ask that you give us the knowledge to be able to do your work. And sometimes we don't do what we should do, and we ask you to forgive us for those times. We're not perfect, but with your help, we can do the things that we need to do. And without you, we can't do anything. And Father, we just pray that you'll be with this people today as they go through having the Christmas celebration, knowing that it's near time for your birth, and you were here to die on the cross that we might have eternal life. And we just pray, Father, that you'll continue blessing this county and our state and our country. And Father, we ask all this in your name. Amen.
Thank you. Meeting will come to order. Roll call, please. Would you, Lisa?
Judge Daskins,
Yes.
Magistrate Anderson, Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dotson,
Here.
Magistrate Vorney.
Leo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I need approval of minutes of November the 21st, 2017. Need a motion. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy,
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dotson,
Yes.
Judge Daskins.
Yes. All right, for approval, discussion, adoption of a resolution of the Pike County Fiscal Court in support of the filing of a Kentucky Local Government Economic Development Fund, LGEDF, House Bill HB 303 project, proposal grant application for $36,000 in local government economic development single county funds with the Department of Local Government, DLG, for the Steel Bridge water line replacement prior. Sandy?
Good morning. Thank you, Judge. Elkhorn City has contacted us and asked us to submit an application for coal severance funds for the match on that project. They have been approved for $234,000 from FEMA for that water line replacement. This is not a new project. This is one that's been around for a long time. And it has been an emergency for a long time because the bridge continues to get less safe. Most of you that are familiar with Elkhorn know that it's that steel bridge that's down under the new bridge that crosses the river. And if that bridge falls, that water line breaks and it takes away the water from that side of Elkhorn City. So they have been approved for $234,000 from FEMA to replace that water line and get it off that bridge. And they need the match of 13%, which is $36,000. There is a letter for this project from Senator Jones and Representative Hatton. As you know, Representative Harris will submit a letter. He does support the project, and he says that his letter will go in once the court gives their approval. And I spoke with John Blanton, Representative Blanton, this morning, and he says that he will support the project also. So I guess what I would ask is that if you all are in support of using coal severance funds for the match on this project, that you would do a resolution in support of that contingent upon receiving those other two letters.
Second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy,
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dotson,
Yes.
Judge Daskins.
Yes.
Sandy? Are there any way that we can get any money, coal severance, to match the 80-20 bridge project that I've got over on Blackberry? Is it possible that we could ask a request for that matching part be used out of coal severance money?
I think you can always ask. I mean, you know, your coal severance funds, as far as what they're supposed to be used for, is economic development, as you very well know. But there's a lot of projects that are approved every day for something that is not classified as economic development. So I think you can always ask for that. We'd have to follow the same process that we follow for others, and that's to try to get the letters of support from the legislators for that.
Who would we need to get to do that? File for the 20% matching on the 80-20 bridge?
If you ask us to do that, we'll be happy to do that for you. That's up to the court as to who would write that application for them and ask for that support.
I know we got criticized for misuse of the coal severance money a few years ago, and I just want to make sure that the legislators have agreed now to start letting us use that money for economic development or whatever, building bridges or whatever, water lines. Is it still pretty much the way it was, or have they kind of changed the way they going to allocate that money?
I can't answer that question. The mayor spoke with the representatives. I followed up this morning to make sure that there would be letters just as submitting the grant application and doing the administration on it.
I know last court meeting we gave them $100,000 to do some core drilling. Now, what's this, $35,000 to move a water line? And
well, the water line, I think, could be considered economic development because the businesses that you have up there certainly would not have water and would not be able to operate if they didn't have water.
Yeah.
So I think that one could be considered economic development. But again, it's just a process. And, we would have to follow the process that they have in place at this point in time.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to do that.
thank you.
All right, thank you, Sandy.
She's on the next one too, Judge.
Yeah.
I need a motion for adoption.
We did that.
You got it?
Yes, she's on the
Roll
next.
call, please.
Oh, no, she's on the next one.
Yeah.
She's on the next one too.
Oh, okay.
Adoption of the revolution of the, yeah, she's got another one. It's on your second page.
Oh, okay. Adoption of a resolution of the Pike County Fiscal Court in support of the filing of a Kentucky Local Government Economic Development Fund, LGEDF, House Bill number 303, project proposal, grant application for $86,000 in the Local Government Economic Development Single County Fund with the Department of Local Government for the Elkhorn City Sidewalk Program. Sandy?
Yes, Judge, this is also for Elkhorn City, and they're asking for matching funds on a sidewalk project. It would complete sidewalk project to replace the sidewalks on Bridge Street and Elkhorn Street. Sidewalks are in very poor condition and not handicapped accessible. The sidewalks are broken and hazardous. They have been approved from transportation for $234,900 for this replacement project, and they're asking for $86,000 in matching funds for that project. And I have the same comments from the representatives on this one. Senator Jones has sent a letter. Angie Hatton has sent a letter. Representative Harris will send a letter once the court gives its approval, and John Blanton will do the same thing.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Judge Diskins?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. And while I have the microphone, if I could, Merry Christmas to everybody for one thing, but we're also having, as the judge and deputy judge knows, we're having our legislative breakfast at Big Sandy Ed in the morning at 8:30. And then following that, we're having open house where we'll have all of our staff. And we have one staff person who has been at Big Sandy for 43 years, and she is retiring tomorrow. So it's kind of a bittersweet day where Libby Ratliff, and several of you have worked with Libby on administering grants, but she has been there a long time. She's seen a lot of things take place at the ad, a lot of changes and a lot of evolution. So we're sorry to lose her, but we're happy that she's able to move on at this point in her life. But I say that to say that you're all welcome to come down to Big Sandy Ad tomorrow. Open house starts at 11, from 11 to 3, and we'll give you good company and feed you well. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Sandy. All right. Second reading of a proposed road ordinance to change the speed limit on May Branch. Keith?
Base Branch,
No.
speed limit. Oh, I got it. That's the speed limit change. Yeah, I got her. There you go. Is this our second reading, isn't it?
Second reading.
There we go. Whereas, let's see, this will be an ordinance establishing 15-mile-an-hour speed limit for the Kentucky Road 7845 at May Branch. whereas approximately 9 residents of May Branch have petitioned the Pike County Fiscal Court to establish a 15-mile-per-hour limit on May Branch. And whereas the public welfare and safety of these residents, as well as all the residents of Pike County, are of utmost importance. Now therefore may it be ordained that there shall be a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit on County Road 7845, the May Branch Road. Further ordained that the road commissioner shall procure the signs setting forth the speed limit and have them posted at prominent places along said road. It is further ordained that the penalty for violation of the ordinance shall be the same as set forth in KRS 189-394, which is incorporated herein by reference, dated this 19th day of December, 2017. One thing I would ask is, we did this one time, and the first person the policeman wrote was one of the people on the petition. And we also had somebody ask for a stop sign one time, and they put the stop sign up themselves, and they were the first one to get the ticket for running it. So hopefully this slow speed limit's really what they want.
Need a motion.
For final adoption.
And a second. A roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson, Judge Fiskins.
Yes. All right. Second reading of a proposed ordinance amending the Pike County Administrative Code, Section 464, Job-Related Disability Leaving 8, and adding a section pertaining to return to work policy. Keith, can you check that out?
Let's do
You gave it to me.
it.
This will be the changes to section 464, job-related disability leave. Y'all want me to summarize it, or should I rack through it? Bill, Herbie, do y'all want me to read through the whole change? Y'all think, Herbie, you think the whole change is needed? I'll go ahead and read it. Now, we'll do it. Okay, on section 8, it says a notice of intent to return to work must be submitted to the main office at least 24 hours prior to return to work, to the court, and shall notify the replacement worker, make any other necessary arrangements for return to them. This is all not changed to this point. Any employee who returns to work without giving 24 hours prior notice will not be allowed to work for the first day and will not be paid for that day. The part stricken out is the rest of section 8. The part that will be removed is the part that says the employee will not be allowed to return or continue employment unless it's the unconditional return to on a full-time uninterrupted basis, and the employee is able to perform the essential functions of the job, and that's been replaced by quite a bit of more specific return to work procedures. I'll summarize it or read through it quickly. It is our goal to prevent work-related injuries from happening. We're always concerned when one of our employees is injured or is ill due to work-related condition. We believe that such absences cost both Pike County Fiscal Court and its employees. We want our injured employees to get the best potential medical treatment immediately to assure the earliest possible recovery and return to work. This section only pertains to workers' compensation issues. Pike County fiscal workers have a compensation program available for employees who have suffered work-related injuries. The program's administrator will determine, based upon their guidelines, whether you're eligible for wage loss or medical expenses under the program. Pike County Fiscal Court wants to provide meaningful work activity for eligible employees who become unable to perform all or portions of their regular work assignment. Thus, we have implemented transitional duty program for light duty. Transitional duty, when available, is a temporary program not to exceed 6 months. And again, it's got a disclaimer here, or a condition, that this only pertains to workers' compensation. The employee's procedures that they should follow: all work-related injuries should always be reported immediately to your supervisor, no later than the end of the shift on which the injury occurs. If a post-accident drug screen is not performed the same day as the inquiry, the employee will only be paid up to 1 hour while taking time out to have a drug screen sample collected. You must complete and sign an injury report. When medical, this is section D, says when a medical treatment is sought, the injured employee must advise their supervisor that they are seeking treatment and obtain transitional duty evaluation form. Regardless of their choice of physicians, the transitional duty evaluation form must be completed for each practitioner visit. Pike County Fiscal Court will not accept a general note stating that you are able to be off work. Now, this program, temporary transitional work, is available up to 60 days with a review of your progress over 30 days while you're temporarily unable to work on a regular job activity. Transitional duty beyond 60 days up to a maximum of 6 months will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. The return to work procedures are added these sections. Section A, if you're unable to return to work to your job but are capable of performing transitional duty, you must return to transitional duty. Failure to do so will result in you not being eligible for full disability benefits under the Workers' Compensation Program and may result in disqualification for certain employee benefits, and in some cases be a basis for termination. Employees who are unable to return to work whose absence of Pike Fiscal Court approves must keep us informed on a weekly basis of their status. Failure to do so will result in reduction in benefits available and discipline up to and including termination from employment. If you're unable to return to work at your regular job or transition duty, your absence must be approved under the Family Medical Leave Program. For this purpose, you need to complete Family Medical Leave Request Form and submit to the Human Resources Department. You must also have your practitioner complete both the Transitional Duty Evaluation and Medical Certification Form. Employees who are not eligible for leave under the Family Medical Leave Act must return to transitional duty or regular work if at all possible. If you're unable to return to work, any work, your job position must be filled after a reasonable time. When able to do so, you will be entitled to return to a suitable position if available and consistent with any limitations. However, you must keep up regularly informed your status of any changes in your condition. Employees must provide a transitional duty evaluation from indicating they are capable of returning to full duty. Permanent restrictions will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis and relate to the performance of essential job functions. No permanent light-duty positions will be created. Cooperate with a third-party administrator and provide accurate and complete information as soon as possible that you receive all benefits which you're entitled. If you have problems or concerns, please contact the Human Resources Department. Herbie, you work a lot in workers' comp area. This sounds like a workers' comp language.
It will save a lot of money when it finally gets implemented. And it will also allow people to come back to work earlier, and they won't be drawing permanent partials.
I don't mean to defer to your expertise, but you've been doing workers' comp when I was a little boy, so.
Yeah, 50-some years, yeah.
Need a motion?
Motion.
I think Justin was wanting to talk about this, wasn't you, a little bit? I see you there with all your paperwork.
Yeah, we discussed it yesterday, Justin and I, about when it would be implemented and how it would be implemented. So as soon as we get the vote, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, provided that this is approved today. Mr. Deskins and I had discussed the implementation procedure of that, and it would be effective come January 1st. The reason that we picked January 1st as the date is the best way to communicate that would be through a memo to all the employees through their paydays, and we don't get paid again until I think it's the December 28th. So they would be well aware of the procedure going forward. And if you have any questions about some of the stuff in there, like the transitional form and why we put that in there that way, I'll be more than happy to answer those. Does anybody have any questions about
The bottom line, if someone's hurt, they need to get hold of somebody like you immediately in the system and help them guide them through it.
Correct. The reason that we put that transitional, if we're going to allow light duty, we have to know specifically from the physician what they can and can't do. And a lot of times right now, what I get is they'll come in, drop off a doctor's note under the door. I'll never see them, and it'll just state they're off work. And there's no really communication there. This creates a communication and a dialogue between us and the employee to know exactly what's going on with them and how best to get them back here.
So are you the one that's going to be administrating the employees on where to go to work or what to do, or how y'all going to do that?
It'll be entirely up to Mr. Deskins how we implement that. If he wants me to do that, I'll be more than happy to do that. As you know, an employee can go anywhere to any physician that they choose. Part of this program is going to require me to set up meetings with these physicians and explain exactly what we're trying to accomplish here and why this is important to the Pike County Fiscal Court. You know, doctors, if they don't know what you're doing, they will continue just to write people off work because they have no idea exactly what we're trying to do here. So it's really a communication between the physicians and the Pike County Fiscal Court and how to best treat our workforce.
So you and Herbie will be directing where the employee will have to go to work? Is that what you're saying?
That will be entirely up to Mr. Deskins or the fiscal court.
I know it's gonna be new for everybody.
It's going to be, I mean, there's going to be some growing pains here, but this program has been successful. I have made it successful in multiple companies when I was an insurance agent. And just to tell you how successful we made it, in about a 2.5-year span, we put over $500,000 back into one company's account because of how much money we saved them doing this program. So it is effective and it will work. And it's going to be new, it's going to be different, and it's just going to take some time to get used to that. But once everybody gets used to doing this and the physicians understand what we're trying to do, this court will see a lot of savings from this program.
So what you're gonna mainly be doing is answering the phone or light duty work. Probably won't be any equipment operating.
Probably not the equipment side, but it will depend on what the physician dictates to us that they can or can't do, to what position they go back in. To answer that question, I can't exactly answer that because it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. If they say they can stand, but they can't do something, you know, they can't lift over 5 pounds, well, then they can, you know, there's all kinds of positions we can put them back in. But if it's a strict evaluation form from the physician that says they can't do that, so yeah, it may very well be answering phones, filing papers, that type of thing. To answer that question, I can't answer that until I see a form from a physician on what they dictate to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, there was a study done on this program, and it really produces work for people coming back and getting into the atmosphere of work. It makes them want to come back more and get back on their job more. That's one of the psychological effects of the program. It's been proven to save a whole lot of money in workers' comp.
All right, I need a motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. All right, cancellation of January the 2nd, 2018 fiscal court meeting. I need approval, motion by. I need a motion in a second.
Is that what the court's wishes is, Judge?
We got anything we need to take care of, Jonda, or anything on the agenda?
Yeah,
Not that I know of. We could always have a special meeting if we needed to.
Need to cancel the January the 2nd fiscal court meeting. Second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Frankie, got any bids? Magistrate's road work. I
Motion.
need a motion to accept Magistrate's road work.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Magistrate's comments. Jeff?
Yeah, Judge, I got a couple things. First one, maybe Herbie can help us out a little bit. I've been getting a lot of questions still on the tax assessments and how all that went down. And I know you had talked to the revenue department. Can you maybe give a little more detailed explanation as to how that all happened, and talk about maybe was there a formula that they changed, or?
It's simple. That the Revenue Department had some people that asked for a reassessment of coal property mainly and gas, and they accepted their invitation to revisit it, and they wrote a formula that cut $400 million worth of taxable property from Pike County, and that's where you came into the big shortfall. And then if Pike County hadn't accepted the compensating rate, then it would have meant, I think, about $2.5 million decrease for the school board, and about $500,000, I think, for Pike County. Now, this was done without any notice to the taxing districts. And I understand now that the Department of Revenue is trying to set up a program that some of these districts that weren't able to survive, Leslie and Lee and some of these smaller counties, to set up a emergency fund so that they can borrow money to get back in business. Fortunately, Pike County got through the situation. It was painful for a lot of people and painful for everyone on this court, but you know, we're still in business.
Well, have we asked for the people that actually filed the protest?
They've told me that was not a public record.
Okay.
And I'm going to look further into that. I just haven't had a chance to, but.
Can we do that in form of a formal open records request, and get an official denial? Then if we want.
Well, we could. Yes, we could do that. What they take the situation is that, I mean, they take the stand that it's none of our business who those people were that asked for the review. I expect that it is the biggest landowners, I mean the biggest coal owners in the county, and there's a lot of people living out of state that hold
Right.
this mineral interest.
Right. Well, I appreciate it.
Herbie, could we ask to have it reversed with this same committee?
Well, you can ask to have it reversed and have the formula, but they take the position.
What is that?
Fire alarm's going off.
Herbie said something he shouldn't have said.
That was hot.
Yeah, that's a hot button item.
Yeah. But they take the position, Master Anderson, that since we don't own the mineral, that we don't have any standing to ask any questions about that.
You know, I had heard kind of, and I don't even know if it's even true or not, but maybe that there was when you get into looking into it, maybe you can find out more detail that maybe that there might be some type of confidentiality if it was an individual protest, but if it was a company protest, that it's not subject to the confidentiality statute.
Well,
I don't know if that's true or not.
They take the position that a corporation is a person.
Okay.
Just like just like the Supreme Court has, that a corporation is to be considered as a person, and that we did not have any standing to get into the financial of the people that actually asked for the request, because they are private owners of the coal.
I see what you're saying. Well, if we did maybe did a formal open records request and got a formal denial, then if we decided we wanted,
we could
we
do
could
that,
proceed.
and I think
Because I actually had some things. Are we going to? Do we have executive session today?
Yes.
And if we could, whoever's going to read it, make sure we have pending litigation, because there's something related to this assessment that I want to discuss too. Another thing you mentioned about people not knowing their business. The UMG stuff, have they ever gotten back with us, or is there anything we need to do to?
No, I read that decision, and probably we need to go back to the original lawsuit and the original request and refile it.
Just refile an open records request?
That's right.
Okay.
Just read the original request that all this litigation came up over, refile that, and that'd be a starting point.
Okay. Is that something that's going to be done in Pike Circuit Court? You know?
No, it wouldn't be done in the Pike Circuit Court. You would just take the last order of the Pike Circuit Court and refile it with the agency that you filed it with.
So we don't have to do any motions or anything? Just
No,
okay.
the case is finished.
Okay.
It's, the appeal time has run, and Keith,
I would just assume that they would honor the Supreme Court opinion and go ahead and give it to us. Has anybody contacted the corporate officers of the company?
I haven't.
I think if someone in the,
I wasn't around when that request was made, so I'm not familiar with the request, but.
I think they would have to about honor anybody's request right now, I guess, with the Supreme Court ruling standing there saying that those are subject to open records, I guess.
That's what
Anybody,
the decision
I think
said.
about anybody could walk in and get them. Yeah.
I don't know if we've got a copy, Jim. We have a copy somewhere, I'm sure, of the original.
I don't think you can assume they're not going to. The newspaper said that they wouldn't do it. I don't know how they got that information, said they still would refuse, but I've not asked them. I didn't know that it's back in, I assumed it was a non-legal issue now, and since it's gone through the Supreme Court, that just the county government.
The reason I asked about the Pike Circuit Court.
Anybody in this room can go and get them now.
Is where it was remanded
Fine if
back.
you want to do that. I'd go ahead and do that.
Where it was remanded back to Pike Circuit Court. I didn't know if there was anything that needed to be done in Pike Circuit Court.
Well, no, that just remanded it back on the original suit that was filed by
Us.
the Pike Fiscal Court.
Okay.
And then I think the Pike Fiscal Court made that request of UMG.
So we can just write a letter pursuant to the Supreme Court
UMG.
decision?
Say to honor our first request.
Okay, I got you. That's it. That's all I have.
All right, Charlie,
Thanks, Herbie.
none. Leo?
No, I haven't, Leo. I'll check on that.
Robin? Thank you. All right. Hillman?
Yeah, Bill, me and Herbie been talking with Celebre about the health department moving over to the school at Majestic. And we've got a meeting next Wednesday, I think, at 11 o'clock of the health department to go over contractual issues.
And Brian's going to go with us. 'cause
Brian's
he
going to
did-
try to
he
get
did
it
most
worked
of
out.
Most of the negotiating.
And Herbie, can you request funding from the coal severance to offset 20% match
No,
on a bridge?
We could ask Sandy if she would write that up, and
If you want to, just go ahead and take a vote on it, that you wanted to do it, and then we'll get the resolution, and then she can proceed with an application.
Well, we didn't vote on the other ones,
Yeah, we did.
not on the projects we just awarded today.
Do,
Did we, Sandy?
yeah, we always do, and get.
When do we vote to do that? I mean, prior to you doing it, we didn't have to vote prior to you doing that, did we?
Well, if you want to, if you vote on it now, we won't have to wait.
Well, I don't know if it's possible or not, but we got an issue there. If they're using the money to do projects, and that would be about 30 houses and a fire station.
Let's just do a resolution in support of it. The court supports it, and then we'll go ahead and start circulating, and she can move on. Move faster with it. They have to have this resolution from the court to do the application.
Well, if, I guess we're all unaware that we could use these funds. I don't know how much is left. It might not be any. Is it, any money left in there, Sandy, that we?
There's
Might
one,
be able to
last calculation that I had, there was 1.5 million, and if we gave 100,000 away last time, and here's another 100 and 22, so there's about $1,300,000 and some thousand, and then we'll have another deposit in January.
But I don't know what it would be. I think Jimmy's ready to move on the bridge. He's got all the paperwork, him and Jackie, they're all been looking at it. And are we ready to submit the bid, Jimmy, or?
Summit's working on it to place the bid out.
They said they turned it over to another engineer that they were gonna hire around the first of the year, and that's like one of his first projects.
Do what now?
We had a meeting with Summit, last Tuesday on,
Well, Summit didn't have anything to do with it, did he? I mean, this was a package that I gave you, Jimmy, that the state had already had looked at, and it was ready for bid, wasn't it, Jack?
Yes, what they're turning in is ready for bid.
Well, that's the papers I gave Jimmy, you know, ready to go ahead and open the bridge up for bids. Sandy, I'll be right with you. But that's what the state told me. They sent me all that paperwork, and the bridge was ready to bid. You know, they've done had it engineered and told us what it had to be. We couldn't change any of the orders. They told you, Jimmy.
Well, what it is, we don't know how to bid it. That's my understanding.
Well, you would bid it like any other 80-20 project. Right, Frank?
yeah, we had talked to Summit, and I guess basically we're just gonna get their engineering stamp on this bridge to make sure that those designs that the Transportation Cabinet came up with are gonna be the exact same ones and no changes made when we put it out for bid, you know.
Well, I don't have the money to pay more engineers. That's what I'm trying to do is come up with an 80-20 plan that I can afford to pay. They said it would probably be close to $300,000 for that bridge, 280 or whatever, and I've got to come up with 20%.
Yeah, but this is gonna be taken care of under our monthly retainer account with Summit. It's not gonna be another charge.
But this has already been done.
And as long as those specs that
It was satisfying the state. That's what they wanted. Is that not right, Jack?
Yeah, that's what the state required. When I tried to talk them into letting us do it, they said it's got to go by our specs, and if not by our specs, they did say this, that you would have to get another engineer crew to draw another drawing, and we'd have to approve it and sign off. But this is the bare minimum that we feel we can do is what they give us.
But I think when the Transportation Cabinet drew that first set of plans up, that they drew it up to replace those piers, and now they're talking about leaving the piers and just redoing the deck.
No, I think they're going to leave the piers.
The plans we had, they were leaving the piers. Okay. They were going to put a new steel on the bridge and put a deck on it. Is that right, Jack?
We had to do a little repair on the piers, just some there. They got a new situation where they put these patches on. It makes it supposed to be as good as new, but the piers is going to be left, their new thing.
I talked to the people at the state, and they said, we're going to give you the paperwork that we've already done. It's already been approved by us. All you got to do is bid it out. And they give me a list of the bidders that they had that was qualified to do state bridge contracts. And you have all that in that package. And I thought Jimmy was ready to go ahead and submit the bid 2 weeks ago, and he should wait till this meeting. He was waiting on a call from somebody. Now you're telling me it's going back into the Summit engineer for a plan that we'll have to go to the state and get them to approve it.
It's not going back for a plan. It's to make sure that the plans that they wrote at the Transportation Cabinets are going to be the same ones that we put out for bid, that nothing's changed.
Well, it's all black and white.
Okay, we'll put it out for bid.
But I don't know why.
And to find out that something's changed And then, because like when this bridge first started, it was gonna be like an $800,000 bridge, and then they said, well, if we don't do this and then do that, then it'll come down to 300,000. And, I don't know where, when those plans were first drawn by the Transportation Cabinet, what set of plans that they were working off of when these prices were coming out.
What plans did you look at?
There's only been one set that I've got from the Transportation.
That's the plans for putting a new deck on it, ain't it, Jim?
Yeah, that's the deck, the beams, they're requiring the beams to be a certain kind of beam and bolted together a certain way, and then on the piers too. But then it's my understanding, and I may be wrong, that we would have to have an engineer to see that ever who this contractor is goes by them plans and are doing what the plans say.
You would have to have them on site.
So you're gonna have to hire a construction engineer to be over the bridge, is that what you're saying?
Well, Summit would, if they bid it, my understanding that Summit then would see that they were constructing the bridge to the state's plans.
Yeah.
Summit's not drawing up a new set of plans for the bridge.
We've got a representative from Summit here, maybe he might be able to. Well, you know, it was new to me, you know. I thought a month ago that we was ready to go ahead and start the process with the bridge, because state asked me, said, would you be able to put $40,000 out of the road fund into building that bridge? And we will let a bid out, and they let you have a list of all the bidders that is state certified. And I don't know, Jack's looked around in Pike County, I don't know if we've got one that's in Pike County that's certified or not.
I've checked around, talked to several people, and we haven't got a certified bridge builder now. The Wright boys used to be, but they let their qualifications die, and they're busy in other fields, and he's not going to redo it, he said.
The last time I looked through the list of pre-qualified contractors, there was nobody in Pike County.
Did you look at the list that Jimmy had with all the state people that's on that list? They told me they bid one out in Lawrence County here about a few months ago, and they had 7 or 8 bidders that bid on the bridge down there. So, you know, I don't know, I guess we're back to ground zero.
The only thing I was going to get Summit to do, and it was under our retainer account, was to look at that set of plans to make sure nothing's changed before I put it out to bid. And I'll put it out based on that set of plans.
Well, I just don't want to be spending more money for plans when they've already got a set of plans that they said, this is what we want, this is what we've got to have. Because Jackie's been dealing with them for close to a year now.
It's quite a while since, I believe, April.
But it was up until about the last month is when everybody was talking about changing that bridge and changing the footprint of it and moving the piers in and shortening the length until they finally said put it out to bid.
But Jack had asked them 6 months ago, didn't you, about changing it?
Yeah, I've talked to them several times. First, I was trying to get them to pay for the whole bridge, get us out of the 20%, and hoping that could work, but that didn't. And then they sent one set of plans, but they changed something, and they sent another one, and I think I took it up to Frank, and he copied it off my email. And so as I've talked back to her again, wanting to change it and use her people to build it, she said, in order to do that, you got to follow her plans, and if you want to change something, you got to get an engineer and a hard engineer to go through it and change it. But otherwise, this is the bare minimum plan that we approve at this moment. And if you're going to get it done, you're going to have to follow these plans, unless you can find another engineer to show us different.
That's what they told you, wasn't it, Jim?
If we wanted that, use that money, we had to have a certified.
Have to use their plans.
A certified bridge builder.
The what?
Certified bridge builder.
And the plans that you got, is that what they told you? You couldn't modify it?
Well, we can modify them, but we can't get their money.
Well, you know, we can't build a bridge without their money. I don't have that much money in 2 or 3 years' budget to build a bridge like that. And, you know, with $40,000 or $50,000, it's going to put a big strain on the road budget. And we, I guess just turn it over to you guys and let you do what you want to with it. And I don't think we got enough
I'll
time.
put it out to bid. I'll use that set of plans that the state drew and put it out.
We can reject the bids if they come in too much, can't we?
Well, you can't award them because you don't have, well, I mean, you've got.
We got to pay for it and then they refund us, right? That's the way it works, John, on 80-20.
The state has committed $280,000.
Right.
80% of that. So basically, I think that they could write you a check up to about like 240.
But they won't write us.
That you would be on the hook for 100%.
They won't write us a check until we complete the bridge, really, John, and we got to pay the contractor. Is that the way it works?
I believe so, but due to the,
Usually until the bridge is completely finished, we don't get a dime. And then once the state sends an inspector out to sign off on the bridge is when we submit the paperwork and then get our money back.
But we got to pay that contractor, right?
yeah,
Unless
we
you
have to do, we have to
on
do,
the bridge passing the inspection. I mean, you can write your bid to say until the state signs off on the bridge that they won't get paid. I don't know how long it'd take in the process. Or just like the NRCS project, you can tell the contractor that they don't get their money till we get it first. You'd have to specify that.
If that bid comes in too much greater, Hillman, there is an alternative maybe. I'm not 100% sure of this. But if we don't use state money, we could build a bridge ourselves. And I've discussed with Ralph, we could probably do that in the $40,000 range. So that's another alternative to that. But we can't use their money. If we use their money, we got to go by their rules. And I turned in $285,000, I think, requests from them for their money. And the guy told me he would approve that. So you done got that back, Frankie? They approved it.
That's what I heard from you. Those are the numbers I heard from you of what they would have approved.
Let's straighten up one thing here that I'm sort of confused with. Is the total cost of the bridge $280,000?
That's what they allowed, Herbie, but we've not had a bid let out yet to find out what it's going to cost.
I mean, what will the state, if it is $280, what will the state pay? I think they'll only pay $240, won't they?
And anything above $240, you have to pay yourself.
Yeah, that's my understanding on 80-20. So I just, so everybody's on the same chapter.
Right.
Okay.
So if the bridge is $500,000, the state's going to pay $240.
Yeah, that's it.
Anything less than $280,000, then the state pays 80%. If the bridge is $100,000, the state's going to pay 80. They'll pay 80% of whatever it is up to $280,000.
That's my understanding. I'm talking with the fellow the other day that they'll allow $240,000 up to that. And
yeah, that's their 80% of the 280.
And then we pay 20% over that. And I think Hillman's question is, can we ask for severance tax for that? I think there will be an economic development, $500,000 bridge.
Well, we just had the Blackberry School purchased by a private person, and he is going to try to open up a bed and breakfast there for four-wheelers and economic development. So, that bridge would supply the use of the fire department and probably about 30 homes. I want to see the bridge built, but I want to make sure we've got the money to build it with. And that's the reason I asked Jimmy to check into it and let the bid out and see how it's going to come in.
We need to get a bid on that bridge so we know what we're looking at, because right now we don't know the price, and I think that's what you're saying.
And now I think
the price of the bridge so we can go from there. If it's greater than we can handle, then it's bad news, but if it's something we can handle, we can go through.
And I think Frankie has said that he's let Summit look at it to make sure the specs are right. Is that right?
No, I haven't let them look at it yet. We just had the meeting last week, and
They don't have an engineer.
yeah, they don't have Jody doesn't work for them anymore. So they
Where's he at?
gave us
State.
so they gave us another name, and then, they said that he would be available the first of the year that would do bridges. And that was when we was gonna get him to make sure that the plans that we got are the plans, that the plans haven't changed. Not to redesign a whole new set of plans, but just to take and confirm that the plans we got.
I just got these plans from the state about a month ago, and I gave them to you, Jimmy. You got everything still yet?
But even at the last court meeting, they were talking about moving the piers in and,
Frankie, I think if you remember, Jimmy said he asked about moving that, and they said, no, we couldn't change any of the plans that they gave us.
right, up until the last court meeting. So, I mean, and then, like I said, we had the meeting last week with Summit about them confirming the plans we got, and then we would put it out to bid.
And they may be some things that we can take off of that bridge. Certain things that they put in that we may get by with the state on, so that when they put it to the contractor, then we say, well, we'll leave this off or this off, and then that can bring the price of the bridge down cheaper.
But I thought you said the state said we had to do exactly what they said, or they wouldn't approve the money.
A woman told me, I've talked to her a couple of times, I believe she got a little irritated at me, but she said couldn't change nothing unless another engineer come through and said this bridge is there and they got to prove it.
There's some things, well, we'll talk later. There's some things that can be changed and be left off. I'm 90% sure of that.
But we can't do it. We'd have to have an engineer.
And then that could possibly.
And then you go back to the state, and they told you and me and Jack all, they will not send these plans back for any changes. Is that what they told you, Jack?
They said the plans they give us, and they got a engineer group to give them the bare minimum, is what they said. And I was trying to talk them into letting us build the bridge, and they definitely bucked on that and using their money. But they said if you change anything, you get an engineer and get designs, and then we got to prove it, and we think it's the bare minimum. So there may be something here. Jimmy's got something in his mind.
Judge, I just make a motion, we table this until we figure out what we're going to do.
Second.
Roll call, please.
It's tabled. You have to vote upon the tabling motion.
Yeah, motion table.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson,
Yes.
Judge Deskett.
Yes.
Now, and the next meeting, I think, if we're going to discuss this, we'll have to bring this resolution, this matter off the table with a similar vote, Hillman.
Do you want me to go ahead and bid this out?
I don't think you're going to. I don't think it's any use to. We don't know where we're going. We got to talk to somebody that knows what to do. Because I don't believe that anybody here understands how we're going to build this bridge. And we built them before. I don't know why this one is so different. I don't know how many 80-20 projects, Frankie, you've bid out and got it approved, and we've paid our part. But this bridge here has been so long of trying to get something done on it that I'm about to give up on it.
I mean, ever since the DLG started enforcing the clause in that says you had to have a pre-certified contractor, we haven't built a single bridge since then. The bridges we had built in the past didn't have to be a pre-certified contractor. And ever since they started enforcing that clause, we haven't built a bridge under this program since then.
Sound like we ain't gonna get one built now, so it's tabled, Sandy, and if you can get us any money, I think we've made the motion that you go ahead and apply and see if there's any funds available, and maybe we can build a bridge ourselves or let somebody else build it. But this don't seem to me like we're going anywhere.
If we can put this bridge out, get it out to bid, and it comes in at $150,000, then that's $30,000 out of your road account. If it comes in $350,000, it's $70,000 out of your road line. So we're trying to work it so that we can try to get this bridge built as cheap as we can. Is what we're shooting for.
I think it's what we're all wanting to do.
If it comes in at $350,000 to build it, then we have no other choice, if it's built, that we'd have to build it ourselves.
Just saying that if you're gonna apply for Cole Severance money for the match, apply for Cole Severance money to build the bridge, not even use the state. One problem that you're gonna run into in the future is on this 80-20 program, the state only allocates so many dollars per county per year, and I think it's like $200,000. For that $280,000 number that they said that they would approve for Pike County, that's given us the amount left over for this year, this fiscal year, plus it's borrowing all the money for next fiscal year. They would advance you the next fiscal year's money.
I think they've got a lot of money down there, and they want us to use the 80-20 before they do the emergency fund. They've got an emergency fund, but they want us to use the 80-20 first.
The emergency fund is different money and different guidelines, but as far as the 80-20 money, they're advancing us the money that we have left this year plus next year's money. So
have they told you that there's just a amount of money that we can apply for?
It's on their website.
You only can apply for $200,000 a year?
Each county, yeah, is only allocated so much money per year. And that's how they came up with the 280-some thousand. We built a bridge in District 4 for $90,000, and that took off half of their money for this year, and then they're advancing us next year's money. You can borrow against next year.
And the money carries on if you don't use it. We'd had some.
Right, if you don't use it, but if you use it now, then you won't have any next year.
Sandy, is that the way you understand it? I mean, you've applied for grants and things. Have they told you? I mean, I thought that money was there to be used for an 80-20 match.
They do have a certain amount of money there, like Frank says, they do allocate a certain amount for each county. If the counties don't use it, then you can apply for it, and they determine whether you get it or not.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and put it out for bid if it comes in at $200,000 or $300,000.
Well, that's what I was hoping we could do, but we're having trouble doing it, so it's tabled and we'll discuss it later.
Well, I put it off him when we need this job done. It's been a problem in my brain here. I tried, when I was talking to Frankie a while back about bidding it out and knowing what we're looking at, but he said, well, no need to bid it because you didn't have the $50,000 part 20 there. That was probably 4 months ago or 5. So we need to get this ball game done. Frankie needs to send out a bid, and at this arrangement is what we're looking at.
But Jack, their recommendations is to wait till Summit gives them an idea on what it's going to look like.
The only thing I was going to confirm with Summit is the plans that the state drew up, because like I said, I haven't went and looked at this bridge. I don't even know where this bridge is. I've seen pictures of it. But to make sure that the plans that were drawn up by the state are the same plans that we can still use to put out for bid, that nothing's changed.
Sandy, do you have any other comment? Okay, thank you.
Judge, I got one more, and we had a meeting at Mate One last week with the Friends on the Tug Valley, Tug River, and Jimmy was there and Sandy, and I think he wants to bring the court up on our trails and let them know about the meeting before we go into executive session. Is that right? So Sandy can leave if she wants to.
Judge, as Hillman was saying, we had a first meeting with the Tug River, Friends of the Tug Fork River. It's a coalition basically between Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia. It's one of the few times that I can remember where we've had 3 states come together to try to get a project done on the Tug Fork. And it ties back into our water trails project. We had over 100 people at this meeting. We had a lot of the state legislatures from both sides of the river were there. We had the mayors from the different cities that were located on the West Virginia side of the river there. Probably had over half the people at that meeting were from Kentucky. Most of those folks were from Pike County. So Kentucky was very well represented. Hillman was there, Bobby Darrell was there, Sandy was there. Just a really positive first step forward in trying to develop better access for that river. The importance of that is twofold. When we're trying to build out our trails project, we've got the water trails part of that, and then we have the non-motorized part of that, and we have the motorized. Well, as everybody knows, we passed House Bill 156 as a state that created the State Trails Authority. And that State Trails Authority has immunity that they can pass to the landowners. Only the State Trails Authority can pass that immunity on to the individual landowners. The county has that immunity, but the county cannot pass that over to a coal company or to a private individual. So it's important that that process moves forward. There's a 21 county coalition, has 9 voting members, and Bobby Varney happens to be Pike County's representative into that coalition. He's one of the voting 9. Those folks will most likely be convening sometime in the spring of 2018. The Department of Local Government is chairing that. A gentleman by the name of Neil Cornett is the chairman. Neil and I talk a couple times a week for progress reports. We hope to have a draft of their licensing agreement that they'll be wanting to execute with the individual landowners. So what we've been doing as a county is trying to catalog and reach out to the private individuals, trying to get some agreements and look to this summit study to make sure that the plans that they put forth 10 years ago are still relevant. So we've made some good progress on that. The relevance and how we tie this back into the non-motorized and the water trail system is what they found over on the Hatfield McCoy Trail system is once you get the riders in here, about 80 to 85% of the riders are from out of the state. So they need things to do once they come in and ride the trail system. And that's part of monetizing the system. So the things that we're doing for the water trails, the things that we're doing on the non-motorized will provide additional economic opportunities for everybody in the county as well as the folks that come and use it from out of state. So they all kind of tie together. So wanted to take a couple of minutes to update the court on some of that progress. The other thing wanted to update you on is Sandy and I had a chance, Hillman, to go over and chat with Rodney Holbrook with the Corps of Engineers. And as you guys know, we have had a horse trail agreement with the Corps and Fish and Wildlife around Fish Trap Lake. There's over 15,000 acres there, Hillman, that are available for use for hunting and fishing and wildlife and for non-motorized access. And in talking with Mr. Holbrook, we wanted to explore being able to expand the horse trails and some of the existing trails that were already in place to be able to use other non-motorized events there. So that would include the walking, the hiking, the cycling, basically any of the non-motorized sports that you would have on any type of non-motorized trail system. We wanted to explore that with him. And I think we had a very positive meeting with Mr. Holbrook. And what he asked us to do is if we would submit a request to expand the existing agreements that we have with them as a physical court to include those other non-motorized events, that he would work that through and try to get that approved for us. So if the court would wish, you all can make a motion to expand that non-motorized part of that agreement, and then we can draft a letter of request to Mr. Holbrook. So wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Jimmy, I don't know exactly what you want us to do. You want us to make a motion to extend
To expand the existing agreement for our horse
what
trails.
agreement we have with the Corps engineers.
We've got an agreement with them to use the land right now for horse trails. And that's the extent of the agreement, is just for horse trails. What Mr. Holbrook advised us is if we would ask them to expand that to include the other types of non-motorized activities, he would walk that through for us.
Well, I'll make a motion that we do whatever it takes to get the bike trails and the other non-motorized trails into the agreement with them.
And we're not excluding any of the prior agreements. We're just basically expanding it to include the cycling, the walking, the hiking, any other hunting, fishing uses or whatever. It was my understanding the initial agreement, a good example is the campground up there. If you weren't up there using that campground exclusively for horse riding, there were some situations where I think some tickets were issued. And quite honestly, that campground's underutilized, could be utilized for a host of events that we could have. And we've had several folks at our meetings specifically talk about the cycling. So I think that's some pretty low-hanging fruit.
I'll second Hillman's motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Daskins?
Yes. All right.
Last thing, Hillman, we have our
calendar.
Trails meeting the fourth Thursday of this month. It'll be on the 28th, be here at the Fiscal Court, be at 6:30. So we just want to remind everybody about that. So thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Judge, that's all I have, and I can see why the people are kind of confused and can't understand why things don't happen in county government. You know, don't seem like we can get anything going or get anything done or anything accomplished. I don't know what the problem is, but, you know, everything we try to do seems like it gets shot down for some reason or other. And I hope the people in Blackberry know that I've tried every way in the world to get them a bridge. And this winter it's going to be tough.
All right, John.
Authorize the necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, life, and dental insurance.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Daskins?
Yes.
Authorize the payment of the expenditure approval list dated 12/18/2017 in the amount of $964,365.22. Plus, I need to add the Pike County Tourism to pass through the monies received from the hotel motels for this time frame that's required on this list.
Need a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Daskins?
Yes.
I have no further business, Judge.
You done? All righty. I need a, Hillman, do you need KRS to go into?
Yeah, I make a motion, we go in executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810 to discuss proposed pending litigation and specific personnel matters.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson? Judge Daskins?
Yes. We'll be in recess for a few minutes. The meeting will resume. And redo it.
Gentlemen, I have the following personnel items.
Yeah.
Approval to hire Larry Hensley as interim landfill manager at his current rate of pay and to continue his duties until he receives his certification. Approval for Glenna Robinson to have donated sick time due to a catastrophic event. Approval for Troy Bryant to have donated sick time effective 12/1/17 through 1/16/18. Approval to amend court order from 12/5/17 meeting to change Willie Burke's rate of pay to a 3H. Approval to hire Randy Jones as a temporary at Road Lot Number 1 as a driver at a 3H rate of pay. Approval to create a position of float man at the landfill. Also, approval to hire Willie Burke in that position as a temporary at a 3H rate of pay. Approval for Jessica Woods to have donated sick time due to a catastrophic event effective 12/14/17 through 2/1/18. And that is all.
Your recommendation?
Yeah, this is my recommendation. I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Commissioners and directors' comments. Jackie Darrell? Anything? I'm hungry now, Jackie Darrell.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, and be careful and on your driving through the holidays, and hope everyone is here with us next year.
Thank you.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas there, and just be with the ones that's less fortunate than what we are, you know.
Good deal.
Same here, Judge. Just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Judge, I'd like to make a quick announcement on where we're going to be placing boxes out for the customers on Christmas break for Monday and Tuesday. And we're putting this in the paper. We're posting it on our web page. And so we want to announce it here. On the Area 1, we'll have a box at the Bimbo's Bakery down by Bowman Bridge at Magistrate Anderson's office, old office there. Have one there. Between the right and left fork of Island Creek, we'll have one there. Mouth of Grassy in Coon Creek, we'll have one there. And mouth of Joe's Creek. We will have one at the Belcher lot will be open. Feds Creek Fire Department, Elkhorn City Ballpark, and Magistrate Murphy's office. We'll have one over there. In Area 3, the Robinson Creek lot, we'll set 2 boxes outside the gates there. Peyton's Creek, under bridge at Old Schoolhouse at Greasy Creek, and Ford's Branch at the bridge. Area 5, we'll have one at the mouth of Peter Fork, one up Blackberry across from the Senior Citizen building to serve the people helping up in Upper Blackberry. Hardy Park, and across from the new bridge up in Stone. And that's where our boxes will be placed. We ask the customers to use those and try to use it just for household trash and not construction. Now, one more thing that I had was we had discussed about buying a truck to put a broom on the front to sweep a road with over at Ford Mountain. We had found a 96 GMC, has 3116 Caterpillar engine, 186,000 miles. Car's new, bed relined, and no mechanical issues was found. They want $12,000 for the truck, and that would be to Jackie Justice if the court approves that.
An emergency.
That's all I have.
And that he be allowed to purchase that truck. Emergency.
Peter Fork.
It's all right.
Oh, you gonna make the motion?
No, the proper.
You get a second, Kenneth?
I second.
Okay, okay.
You do a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
Just want to wish everybody a happy Christmas, Judge. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Do you have anything to say?
Just echo that, Judge. Merry Christmas and have a prosperous New Year. Remind everybody we have a Trails meeting there on the 28th here at the courthouse at 6:30 on that Thursday, 28th of December. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. County Attorney's report.
There's nothing that I'm aware of.
Nothing, okay.
Nothing that I'm
County
aware of.
Judge Executive's comments. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I recommend the adjournment.
Hey, can we get, Bobby, you care to ask the blessing over the food before you?
Wait just 1 minute. I need to add on the expenditure approval list that any other utility and telephone bills that are received before the checks are run, that we be able to pay those too.
Motion.
Okay, we're not ready to eat yet. We have to bring it in, so it'll be about a 10 or 15 minutes. Everybody just hang out.
Yeah, if everybody just hang on for 10 minutes, well, then we will then commence the second part of today.
Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Oh, that's fine. We need to vote on the, those additional expenditures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion.
Need a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson? Judge
Just
Davis?
wait, we got,
Yes.
Noah cases.
All right.
no, okay.
I need a motion to adjourn. Second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
No help with bringing out.
Magistrate Compton? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson? Judge Daskins? I know.
Yes.